it's them because they're in the phone, and it's the last phone I ever owned. It's their loss. Delusion, what's up, beloved? Yeah, just they hijacked the last one. The signal strength is fine. It's the little goofy boys. They feel some kind of way. But it's their loss. They think they got everything locked in. If they stand by and listen, they'll learn something else. You dig what I'm saying? Oh, they're going to learn something today. Or they can keep playing. They can keep playing. Get everybody over here. Let me make sure. Look at this. They put 4 hours. Look at that, and I just made it. Look at, boy, they trouble. Boy, you see that? And the other one, they pulled it off, and they put it a day ago when that was how many? About 20 minutes ago. Oh, that's that. No, I guess they trying to bother somebody or something. That don't work on me. And they're saying no views, and look at all y'all coming up in here. They is funny, and I'm enjoying it. Be right back. Come on in. Come on in. We're gonna start this again. No internet. Come on in, beloved. Come on in. This is gonna be a good one.
Thus my decision is to walk with this beast through tongues, melodies, poems, and beats. But when the time comes, shoot it out in the middle of the streets. I'm saying I'm not some master teacher, no am I some pastor or preacher. Was released represent with this passion to speak of. After doing 25 years in the beast cuffs, realize they tried to teach us spiritual, mental, physical diet. They tried to feed us the fire of our ancestors resides in each of us. With that, I'm inspired to turn this heat up. I'm envisioning a world full of love and peace. Thus my decision is to war with this beast through tones, melodies, poems, and beats. But when the time comes, shoot it out in the middle of the streets.
We're really approaching almost like it's a Frankenstein moment, and they're framing it to us as innovation, right? We should all be so excited that this is happening, and I equate it to like the Golem bringing in like these robots. They would like to feed our life force to like the Golem bringing in like.
Y'all know what I did, right? Is that the check something?
To learn us in every tiny detail, not to empower us, but to actually transform us into a robotic simulation that is under their full control.
Hey,
Nah, bro. Come on. We're almost there, bro. Almost there.
I'm way about
I do it
right
down
now.
for Shot Town, who am I but Shot Town? You young fool, I'm too fly to just slide out. Blue sky but high ground, a crown slash helmet. So my aircraft still spit, cabbies tied down like even seat belted. I look down, I see green like a Celtic. My heat pulverizes, the cheese is melted. The realness of cash money, I dispelled it. You did the fusions in my eyes, I beheld it. The finger fucked, it caused my hand, I dealt it. Felt it vibrate from the gut of my pelvic. It bust all some ices and veil shit. So radiant, I keep a dark room well lit. Cause you little goofies are well quick. Body for real marquee velvet. Body you not for Mars, is a female's clip. As a kid, all I did was fight. I did the bit with a knife. I know I can spit my flows to shit. To a fly zone, haters wanna crucify a real man. I still stand with the silver hand, but we're healer man. It's not Cypress Hill, I'm Tuttle Sheep. I'm one tough cookie, I don't follow, I set standards. Catch me, you gon' have to do more to scamper. Need more to scanners, I'm off the radar. I am as you goofies play God. Some worship the Christ, others pray to Allah. Chase a high, drink people or bruh. You stagnated, well I straight evolve. At a rate, I'm dating space easy, y'all.
know it's kind of crooked because the floor is uneven here. All right, so there we go. That should be a lot better. There we go. Hey, baby. Yo, that song is banging, right? I actually started off with Mac B, and I was going to play O-Slot, right? I think he sent me a couple more. I'm trying to get on over to SoundCloud, which is instrumental. I like it, but it's not transferring. So, Mac, if you can get it over there, I appreciate it, brother. On your list. Now I put Olmec. I put capital O-L-M-E-C. So I know you have probably Okma, but I changed it.
Listen to me, young people, old people too. Mostly black people, I'm talking to you.
That is banging, bro.
Y'all really thought that I was done with y'all? Nah. I'm really down on y'all. Fellas up.
Bump that. We're going right here and let this bang on. I had it already. Okay. Okay, I put Olmec, you know, with a C, and I just put it that way for it, easy for me to. But I'll go and pull up the open your actual page.
So the only people that's scared are the oppressors. The only people who can have any harm coming to them are those who oppress. Simple as that. 3 pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, make no surrender. 3 pound pressure. No weight lesser, drop the oppressor, need no surrender, 3 pound pressure, no weight lesser, drop the oppressor, need no surrender, 3 pound pressure, no weight lesser, drop the oppressor, need no surrender. It's time for a change, gotta bounce up, the oppressor's about to get bounced up, I'ma lay him out, execution's down, too late with apologetic claim. You wrapped in a cloak of blame, by God, it's overdue, your time was in the end. Locked out silent without sin, equal real and better with us is the win. The rest is about to get rolled down.
Let me turn that oven off.
I'm a messenger popping like Farrakhan, backed by the honorable, who sits at the pinnacle, who judges the hypocritical, cynical, and the political simple. My thinking is critical, I'm just better of the actions of the protective service. Quick to pull the black blast and kill this, don't take any type of skill. I'm ill of all citizens who have the truth stand or kneels too late when the caps get peeled. Don't believe the TC type, going hits close to home, you gotta act the bone when it got the dome, when it's on the zone, all red of my visual sight. It's gonna be killed whenever I write from above, I'm given the right. So you better be ready to ride tonight, on the way to the dawn daylight. We gon' burn them out, so gon' pass the kite. 3 pound pressure, no weight lesser, drop the oppressor, me no surrender. 3 pound pressure, no weight lesser, drop the oppressor, me no surrender. 3 pound pressure, no weight lesser, drop the oppressor, me no surrender. 3 pound pressure, no weight lesser, drop the oppressor, me no surrender. This world is such a, and when I say this world, I don't mean in an ideal sense, I mean in every day, every little thing you do. It's such a, gimme. Everybody back off. You know, everybody's like, if you taught that from school, everywhere, big business, if you want to be successful, you want to be like Trump, gimme, push, step, crush. That's how it all is, and it's like, nobody ever stopped.
rock the great matriarch, whether it's day or dark, creates the spark, ways the heart as I sun ray, my heart remains the patriarch. Most social media saviors I fix, marks once we make knowledge want its way, time and space rock. The great matriarch, whether it's day or dark, creates the spark, ways the heart as I sun ray, my heart relate the patriarch. Most social media saviors I fix, marks once we make knowledge want its way, the run and base rock. Rose up, took a shower, purify my auric field, took copper for a wall to ensure my chlorophyll is pumping. Done some throws for sure, I want to build solid foundation, my crown chakra, core and hill, pound the pavement, sacred ground, freedom I stand for, free all political prisoners of war, man or woman in jail. Rid the land of all foreign and alien entities. I decree this morning, send them back to whence they came. Is the peace laugh or war cry, whatever the relevant name of each path, simple, highest form, spiritualities, how you teach math, a humble beast is still a beast. Now feel the beast wrath, rain fire upon them, and the internet forms, sigils, emojis, and the avatars that wore them. Destroy this de facto government.
For sure. Yo, what's good? What's cracking, everybody? What's cracking? What's cracking? What's happening? What's happening, man? I'm in SoundCloud because of oldest son music producer. I'll go check it out. Okay. Yeah, Omec 12. I got it, beloved. I got it. I got it all, brother.
You're from the tribe of Issachar. You are the Mexicans, the Aztecs. That's what they did with the 12 tribes, and they would never wanted you to find that out.
Facts.
So all of y'all that's sitting around fighting each other and hating each other and saying he black but he ain't black, I'm black and you black. No, you're all black. You're just 12 different types of blacks that have had your mind erased, so you
Relax,
don't know
Papa.
who you are. And as long as they can keep y'all fighting amongst yourselves, you will never unify and walk in the true power that you have. Not one tribe, all 12 tribes. If all 12 tribes walk together, matter of fact, it's written, if I could just get 12,000 of each one of y'all to walk together and get the 144,000.
He wants to go outside, I'm gonna take him out. I was cooking my meal.
Noise that's like a weapon. They know that. They don't want you to know that. Matter of fact, I guarantee you, before this is all over, if you're not recording this one, it won't be around when I go to do the countdown. They gonna make sure he done went out there and told them who the hell they was. I don't care. I'm gonna say it again. The American black, the West Indian blacks, the Haitians, the Puerto Ricans, the Cubans, the Dominicans, the Guatemalans, the Panama, the Mayans, the American indigenous, the Seminole indigenous, Colombia, the Iroquois, the Incas, the Mexicans, the Aztecs, Argentina, and Chile. You are the descendants of the 12 tribes.
Facts. Oh, you thought I wasn't gonna... Oh, come on, man. You already know, love it. You know what I mean? We got Delusions back over here. Yeah, Omec, my baby girl, Tariq. It's good to have y'all up in here. I'm gonna start talking so that way I know more people will come in. It's gonna be tame. It's not gonna be all... And you know what's funny? I just came across some more information. So what they're trying to state for medical misinformation is actual factual information. And these characters, somebody shared something. I was like, duh. Talking about Romania, where there are settlers. I forget the number of these bourgeois. And I'm like, and even they've been aware of it. Everybody. The whole purpose of everything you've learned, seeing what's going on around the world, was them to put themselves in a position to be controlling everything with their minions. Let me pull this up right quick. He's gonna be out like crazy because he wants to go outside, y'all. And he'll go outside when I take him outside. You dig what I'm saying? Okay, new. There we go. Pull that. So let me first say this about what minion means. and y'all know from the cartoon all that foolishness, and you show what they saw what they look like, right? A follower, this is what they think of individuals. A follower or underling of a powerful person, especially a servile or unimportant one, he gets oppressed minions like me to fob them off. He get oppressed minions like me to fob them off. Now, you hear these words and terms, right? These vibrations that are coming out making this sound. I would ask you to learn what these so-called the meanings or the etymology of each one of these words. Okay, it is more important than you can even imagine, and I don't need for you to put a whole lot of self-influence or a lot of energy into it. Be able to share the narrative. And as I stated about dog tags, that alluded to the fact that the tag was for a dog. Henry Kissinger could have said it better. I have his book. Y'all might want to purchase his book. I'm not going to read his garbage on here. All of them. Teddy Roosevelt was a betrayer. Especially of our people, it was important for them to change the narrative of your existence. And then after Kennedy was murdered, the whole job with Martin Luther was the purpose to bring our people who are autochthonous into this servitude of being a foreign distraction. So I know there's a lot of people pushing narratives. So I asked a Native American, I says, look, I want to know, because I've looked over many land patents, and it's nothing but so-called Negroes, and you know that's a very bad word. I see nothing but us on land patents. I don't see none of you. I even see some light skins. There's a video going around of a light-skinned girl who's expressing the fact that she's so-called black, melanated. Some of you may have seen that. I don't know if you have, but I just want to allude to the fact that there's what I've been saying for a very long time is not some made-up narrative. I know it's hard for people to accept something outside of their conditioning. Just like people say, well, how do you feel about these people who call themselves Jews? I said, I have no feeling about the fact that they call themselves Jews, because you need to remember, if you take children and you raise them, tear them down and build them up in this lie, that's the only thing they're going to know. Again, an insult implying that someone is incompetent, stupid, exactly, can also be used to imply that the person is uncool or can't, won't do what he's all behind me, y'all, what everyone else is doing, right? Yes, many words in these lingo is that. Look at him, he's just having a ball. You know what I'm saying? Al, Snooze say hi. So, what am I alluding to? The fact that you have a world that sadly is taught a lot of hate of the actual old world, or the ignorance will not allow them to accept the truth, because they have been inundated, bombarded with so many lies. Now, if people started realizing the truth, they would rage. They would be so angered. And who's behind it? The Jew. The lying, fake, fraudulent Jew, and all the converts and those they've conditioned. You think that CIA, MK Ultra, and all that stuff is just one particular part? No, that's the whole gamut. They have worked very hard, elusively, hard at this. I was just looking at some videos I was tempted to save, and they won't allow me to save it on the phone because they're blocking that, where there are groups all over the so-called earth, the world we live in, that are testing waters, testing the soil, testing mountain regions, and they're looking at when there was no aluminum, when there was no strontium, when there wasn't no all these other metals. And they're showing that there are up over 100% as far as the amount being poured and dumped on people. Now, we already talked about so-called silver iodide, right? We already know what they're saying they're seeding the world with. Why would they be honest or truthful? And then they have their little minions, their little, who should probably have dog tags and labels, all right, subverted. And some of them are allowed to see things, so they say, oh, We're going to work with you. We want to be protected and safe. You're not going to be protected, nor are you safe. You're just going to be a visage or a vessel. So keep doing what you're doing. And some of you may have already be. The other thing I wanted to mention to you is if everything was so perfect. Now, we know we've read before, and custodians, this and other, how it's a big game for them, okay? How it's very important for them to carry on this game because it's fun. Now, though many people are so-called waking up, I really kind of detest that statement because it's about recall. The moment people have true recall, then they'll realize what they're actually capable of. And I would say the majority have not had recall. They cannot. They are embarking on things, and they're deliberately being misled in those things. Y'all know that brother that goes running around talking about the orange sun and the orange moon. You know the brother with the dreads, clean eating and everything. He's showing himself working out, and he's always putting all this misinformation out. You really need to pay attention to what's going on and the way he talked to police officers. I'm not going to say this individual's name, and there's a number of them. It's an act, okay? It's something to keep you further from being able to walk in your visage, your true essence, the vessel that you occupy, okay? And then the other thing with war, they need you to hear the numbers of how many deaths, 30,000 Ukrainians and Russians, 100,000. And most people will take this in. And what does it do? And my apologies for mentioning this right now. It's going to make them more credible and you less focused on what you need to do. You need to do to address yourself and raise yourself to a place very far over where they cannot acclimate you anymore. Okay? This is serious. And ladies, y'all need to come on through with the brothers. This is going to stop through. We can go to the gun range. I'm going to let her meet some people, talk to some of the guys at the gun, some of the veterans, let her hear some of their opinions about things. And she probably hears some of the crazy, because ganja and they can tell you, man, some of them cut up. It's everything you think, your fears, are only because of your aloofness. Some Native Americans are starting to realize that, okay, everything isn't what it seems to be. And the whitewashing of history was to set people apart. I mentioned this to Baby Girl Slaughter, and I'm going to mention to you guys, and I mentioned it before. I said it's funny how they say the progenitor of the dark races, for you religious zealots who don't pay attention to read, the progenitor of the dark races is Ham. And it goes on to say the Ethiopian, the Egyptian, so forth, right? But not the Negro. They had to play it safe because they really needed to eradicate our existence as far as knowledge and knowing. And nobody else was up to this. This is not nobody else is doing. Now, there are, I'm going to use the word Negroes in the most negative way possible, who have betrayed you. It doesn't matter how or why. Okay, that is the least of what you need to be focused on. You know, you got people, you know, they're gonna come along and they're gonna mention, what's that called? UCAB or whatever that dude with the big head, and they made the dog race first, and then they turn around and made the white races to be over, and then they're gonna let them get to a point and bring them back. I'm not saying don't pay it no mind. I'm saying just let it be. Because if you're gonna sit there and inoculate yourself with all that, you're doing yourself a very just disservice. You need to focus on your internal mechanisms of a viable truth. We always say, in my heart, I know it's different. But people think they don't think with their heart. They think it's only a gut feeling. Well, if one's steeped in emotion and the other is with the notion, nervous, giddiness, staunch, numbness, it always is in the heart. Why is it that he attacked that the most? And we always think it's the brain. The brain is nothing more than the battery. And though it is capable of harnessing many things, there's a reason why the Christ fluid is called that, the sacrament between the brain and the skull, the fluid. that runs through allows the neurons to fire. And the heart, the gut, all that, the lungs, everything. How many of you ever get quivered and you start breathing, panting, and you think it's because of the heart? The lungs are doing this part because the body is functioning on a higher level that has no direction, never been nurtured how to recoup from that. We think about Wim Hof, the Iceman cometh, right? The fact that he does a lot of breathing techniques, you know, like I stated, in your nose, out your mouth. We have not learned how to breathe appropriately. Yet they wanted us to learn a false math. They wanted us to learn how to be dumb, to seek what they want, to be good, subservient minions, and that is not within you. And then they wonder why so many of our people fail, because it is a misleading, misguiding. They know this. And most parents, parenting, I don't even know why you would call yourself a parent, but would sit there because they think they made it through it. No, you were given a little libations to believe without knowing that you have been successful in their detriment, yet you have not acquired nothing. And then they want you to believe you have to have colonial titles and all these other things. They really do make money off of you while you're alive, but they even take more when you're dead. It's not even about the money. It's that you're stuck there believing in this because you lack knowledge of knowing. This is how they usurped everybody to create statuses that they employ to further embark on putting you in a place, knowing that what is nurturing to you is natural order. What fills and feeds you is natural order. Nobody else, unlike to you though, it affects you more. So therefore, if it's further, you are further removed from it, you are further distracted and detached from your true self. Do you get where I'm coming from? This is not complicated. I mean, even the back of the turtle is a calendar. What turtle? Well, why the calendar has to be a statement of deities, narratives, false gods that are outside of yourself, as far as the narrative goes, and subjugate you into a further deplorable state. Why? I'm here to tell you, stop asking so many whys and start dealing with the fact that there's something relevant and I need to do something that is totally opposite and find myself. I know it's very, we'll say, hard to, in this false proliferation of lies and narratives that paint a very ugly picture. I mean, look at how many people are still running around calling themselves African Americans. Did I not show you who has the owner on it? That it's a corporation, it has nothing to do with an individual. And yet you have people, even from around the world, in this false blackness coming here and believing it's a staple. I mean, when we're talking about what language do you speak, what's your culture? Why is it that they had to create a book called Eubonics because of us? Everybody's walking around practicing our culture. I mean, they took what was positive, rap, and by using certain individuals, they perverted it and made it negative because they knew the power and the influence it was having. We stopped warring, the savage nomads, Puerto Ricans, Boricuas, American, the actual true Udeans, stopped warring for a period of time. They couldn't have that. How can they further go on? Because they knew that your numbers you would arise to a level that, because you would have came together, there's nothing they could have done to stop it. And they had to put the most ignorant in costume and believe their war and tactics and everything else being taught by the Zionists to further cause harm would illuminate these people when all it does is it breaks them down. Because, again, Shem, where the Negro is from, not all the family were Negro. But those who look like us had to be changed by the narrative of relatives from other earths or whatever are here. Well, however you want to see it, it doesn't matter. You need to be more focused on they had to replace with the closest resemblance. I pulled up. I don't know if I made a post. I did make a post. I made it on my other account and won't upload it. Now, anytime they just give you a strike, yeah, you can't upload videos. They don't stop you from posting and stuff like this or doing shorts. This is how consistently inconsistent and their fear is. They're wrong 24/7, 110%, because they know that they're doing no good. They know that they made a choice. And ergo, they walked into the wrong barnyard. They walked into the wrong den. And I say this for them to protect themselves. But like I said, when you have people running around believing that they're a threat, danger, they're a little testosterone, synthetic, and everything else is what makes them, because they work out, they eat a little different. Their mentality, their notion, their gut, everything would show that they're wrong. But when they become narcissistic sociopaths, they don't get it. There's nothing normal about them. Yet you, because of the media and everything else, the embarkment of war on drugs and all this other dumb stuff, is what you have acclimated to. It's funny that I was also talking with Niece and a few other people. I says, it's funny how we sit here and we forget freebase has been around just like heroin for a long time. But what we didn't tolerate it. But the wars being administered, the filling, the partying, the free Budweiser, right? Yes, Korea, Vietnam, World War II, that heroin. Though we didn't get all hooked up on it in the 60s and 70s. They call it the summer of love with these baby boomers. All of a sudden, the CIA, they were out here putting out all these drugs and synthetics, LSD, and they have a song by the betrayers of music and satanic worship, knowingly or no, unknowingly, Lucy in the sky with diamonds, right? And then you go and watch movies like Here, Home for the Fleas, High for the Bucking Bees, and you have Aretha, you have them singing and all the colors and everything sounds, and then the friend goes to let the brother come back, you know, and then he goes and dies in the war and everything, and you think it's all supposed to be magnificent and wonderful, but you really never listen to the words and what it was doing, because it was inducing you, putting a spell on you. And then here all of a sudden you have Rick Ross and you have all these other players you don't know nothing about bring all these drugs in, and then they're down there have these special force guys they train who leave the police force and the military, and they go create a cartel because they know the government's corrupt. And then they start slaughtering and teaching the people to do the most heinous things. The cartels pop up, right? That's not too long ago, y'all. That's not 100. That's not even 50 years ago. And you look at these things, and you look at the gangs and everything else. The Black Panther movement was a government creation, using the narratives of the land, fortified but more influences of Negro betrayers. And I use the Negro and negating negativity. Some of them still alive and old, trying to tell the truth. Yeah, there's plenty of videos of these guys telling the truth, and they wish they hadn't, and da. Right? Fred Hampton. I mean, think about it. His best buddy, working for the feds, drugged him. Okay? And then they went up in there, these fake Jews in costume, and they shot him while he was asleep, murdered him while he was asleep. The very thing they did in 1948 and everything else when they over there exterminating, murdering the so-called, they want to call them gypsies now, the people they used to conquer the land of the real Palestinians as far as the narrative of West Palestine to create this false illusion. And they're arguing with these Sephardic and crypto Jew Arabs who have no truth of their real history, and you never hear them say this. So they argue with him, calling him a Jew, not knowing the truth of history. It's just fundamentally dysfunctional. Yet, it still robs you of your sovereignty, your dignity, your truth, your light, and who you are. It embodies the imperfection of their perfected nonsense, and yet people still run around with it. Look at the IUIC and all these other individuals. People still buying into it because it's like a drama. And sadly, most women buy into it more than the men. But the men who are behind it, you need to think about those who are doing it willfully and to betray. These things you can't make up. And if they was to stop and actually come together, nobody could stop it. The fear tactics would go away. And you got these idiots who are still using it. Why did it do that? Who's still using the term black and everything else. It just, they are in here. Listen, y'all. They're trying to mess with this. Hold on. They just shrunk it. No action. I'm zoomed it in. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry about that. Don't worry. I'm just attempting to get it back to its proper without messing it up. It goes over here. Goes over here. There we go. I just had to tap on the bottom of the top, but it wasn't doing it. So anyway, now it's full screen. But anyway, I know it's a very hard thing. Reading and yes, is the proper thing to do, right? Sick with your Hindu names, exactly. They dumb. Well, the thing is, who's going to stop it? That's why I say it's important for y'all to get away from the negative energy. You have to. You have to. It's not a request. I am not asking. I am telling you that you have to. Unless you, and look, sadly enough, some of you actually have this belief, there's no knowing, that you can change it, or you have this time. Time is up. And I'm not saying that as a fear tactic. I am saying for the intelligent ones to realize enough of this. This has to happen. No more. The problem is we keep feeding this energy. We keep partaking and participating. We keep subjugating yourselves. You gotta stop. You have to. You have to. Excuse the other language coming out. You're not supposed to hear that. You have to. I know you hear two voices, right? You have to, okay? And I am not saying that as a gambit. For those who have gone on the brink of death, how many of you saw the light? How many of you have blacked out? And when you came to, you saw the light. You stay away from the light. Do not go into the light. No, see, they played a certain movie. Y'all remember that, right? Little girl by the TV. You're going to the light. Come back. Well, didn't they say go into the light? You remember the movie? Don't go into the light, Carol Ann. Why? Why was it, and Poltergeist, why was it that the little midget woman, you passed away a long time ago, said, don't go into the light? Light exposure before bed and while sleeping can have adverse consequences. Electronics such as smartphones, laptops, tablets, and televisions emit blue light that can trigger migraines, eye strain, and in worst case scenarios, even blindness. Blue light causes oxidative stress, which means your body's ability to flush out toxins is severely hampered. Being exposed to too much light at night interferes with your natural sleep-wake cycle, which makes you wake up earlier than you intended, thereby causing a bad headache. In most, not all. Why are we told not to go toward the light when we die? I want y'all to look into that. I'm not saying that the light is a bad thing. I am saying that there is a cycle where the narrative has convinced you, because of whitewashing, the light being a good thing, without people really truly knowing what the light is. Wouldn't in the darkness where light exists, wouldn't you see the other things to become and exist as you were meant, not to be in a violent cycle? I'm not saying this to be a fact, nor not to be dismissive with the possibilities. What I am alluding to is the reality that there's a situation that most have no knowledge in because you have been kept in the dark about it, but not in the dark as if dark gray or black or blue. What I am stating is the only light that you know of is the subversive. You don't have the narrative of knowledge and knowing about there's no need to come back into another door that brings you back into the same room. Because you have no functional or focal guidance and nothing to lead you. And yet they say you hear the voices. hey, it's Uncle so-and-so, it's Grandmama. But wouldn't the enemy want to subjugate you because your power is at its lowest, your frequency has been disturbed? That they need to drag you back in to continue the game. Next time you might be somebody's meal, you might be a sacrifice. There may be a number of things. You might come back into a place that has been destructed that you were never meant to walk back into, and therefore they say, and for the dead, the lie, the living envy, when you're not dead at all. Yet there is a place you don't want to end up, and that will be in my story to tell. And that's for the enemy, things, and everything else. It doesn't matter what they think, believe, or know, what they've accomplished in their subversive, perversive world. Imagine existing as you were meant to be. The source, the filament, the thing that doesn't have to burn light but burns all the time, as far as the narrative of burn. To be enamored and exists in the function of your truth. No fear. Able to walk into a thing and choose the direction, or to even gather in the numbers to do what must be done. They don't get to walk into that. They are not equal participants. And every once in a while, there are those who are enamored with that force that can never be utilized nor taken, to come and remind you and warn you. They have no knowledge. They just want to destroy what they have no knowledge of, and they're believing in something they think they have knowledge in. They have none whatsoever in all the things they do. Imagine, dream for a moment, where everything is saturated in its order without having to control or fumble or create things that are unnecessary. Imagine being the guide that allows certain things, the guide, or the guide stone that becomes the guide ruin. That's all I'm saying. You must embark on this phonetically. You must allow yourself to consummate a relationship with yourself and those like spirits. They're not gonna, listen here, man. This is not a game. They can't stop me. It doesn't matter what they're doing. That's why I keep being the tenor, to mess with them, because their feelings and emotions, though you would think they're not. We're going to read a little bit. Would have you think that they're really keyed in on stuff. I'm not here to stop at nothing. I'm enjoying this. Oh, y'all just don't know. Okay? And they can't stop. That's the funny thing. It's funny to me. Okay? I'm not saying it's funny to you. Some of you probably feel this way. To me, it's so funny. But what's worse, you look at all those that are caught up doing what they're doing, and you sit there and say, wait. They have really acclimated to the perversions of living. And then they get caught up in this religion. That's another phonetic way of acquiring something else, and hopefully they're silent when they do. Okay? It's a long trip to get to a certain place, especially when you really haven't accepted, because many of them say, I've accepted who I am. Then who are you? What's the narrative? What are you then? Let me turn this off. Let's roll it. Stop burning. It's just, I gotta put the garlic in. I don't want it to overcook. Oh, yeah, baby. Yes. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Oh, yes. Get in there. Good gracious. Good dog in this water. With my Jamaican seasoning. No, man, you acting funny for a second there, bro. Don't you meow on me, man. Here, go get that ball. Go get it. There you go. Chase. Fetch. Okay. Let me go ahead. I don't want to keep here and drag y'all all through this. I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit, okay? Oh, we'll read the other books later, okay? I want to bring you back over here, and I want to start this from where it is, and I'm going to read it as it without interpretation, at hijacks, or anything. I'm going to read it, and this is by Benjamin H. Friedman, Facts Are Facts, original edition. First published in 1954, reprint edition by Last Century Media, 2023. ISBN number is 978-193-943-88881. Content Section 1, Benjamin Friedman speaks. A Jewish defector warns America. Section 2, a copy of the letter addressed by Dr. Goldstein by Benjamin Friedman. Section 3, a hidden tyranny. We're going to go on to the Jewish Encyclopedia. The shoguns of the latter, Emperor Heraclius, Justinian II, after the flight from Kherson to Doros. All right, now I'm going to show you, so when we talk about the Crimea and everything else, that place where you want to say Russia and all that. You see that? That's supposed to be Italy, you know, as all Negro continents, Germany and all that stuff, right? Okay. And when you say it there, you talk about the number of Jews. These are the number of the warlike Jews that all of a sudden disappeared in the 6th century, and then all of a sudden we get 1,000 years, and all of a sudden they reemerge somewhere in the 7th and 8th century, right? Getting the numbers right, indoctrinating people. It takes a few generations to really lock it in, and conquering and skirmishes, finding out their weaknesses, where they're strong at when the world was at peace. Origin of self-styled Jews. Listen to the word again. This is the book. I think some people have purchased it. Origin of self-styled Jews in Eastern Europe. Khazar is accepted modern spelling. The Jewish Encyclopedia retains the archaic Chazar, as you heard Curio, myself, and a number of others now. Let's go over here. It's not to dispel religion, but to have more focus, okay? So Japhet, a medieval and early modern European tradition, he was considered to be the progenitor of the European peoples, Caucasian race, groups claiming affiliation. Now, to think that there weren't no melanated people, you would be a nutcase. So, 4 other uses see Japhet, disambiguation. Japhet, Greek, nausea, blah, blah, Latin. There's nothing ever goes beyond that. Is one of the 3 sons of Noah in the book of Genesis, in which he plays a role in the story of Noah's drunkenness and the curse of Ham, and subsequently in the Table of Nations as the ancestor of the people of the Aegean Sea, Anatolia, Caucasus, Greece, and elsewhere in Eurasia. In medieval and early modern European tradition, he was considered to be the progenitor of the European peoples. When we talk about children, his children, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshna, Tyrus, and his parent was Noah, as you know. The meaning of the name Japhet is disputable. There are 2 possible sources to the meaning of the name. From the Aramaic root, and meaning ta, or to extend. In this case, to extend. In this case, the name would mean may he extend, according to the interpretation in Rashi. It's Gujar, one of the relatives. When you look at the Madai, or the Tubal, all right? From the Hebrew root, meaning beauty, in which case the name would mean beautiful. In Hebrew, that means Yiddish, not the true language of Hebrew, because they have changed it by adding, as you can see, they added one of their little vowels. In the book of Genesis, Japhet first appears in the Hebrew Bible as one of the 3 sons of Noah saved from the flood through the ark. In the book of Genesis, they are always in the order Shem, Ham, and Japhet. Remember, there's a 4th son when all 3 are listed. Genesis 9:24 calls Ham the youngest, and Genesis 10:24 refers ambiguously to Shem as brother of Japhet, the elder. All right, which could mean that either is the eldest. Most modern, we know Shem was the eldest. Writers accept Shem, Ham, Japhet as reflecting their birth order, but this is not always the case. Moses and Rachel also appear at the head of such list of such lists despite explicit descriptions of them as younger siblings. However, Japheth is considered to have been the eldest son of Noah in rabbinic literature. And who created that? The Ashkenaz. That is not Hebraic. That is not of Shem. That is the lie. Following the flood, Japheth is featured in the story of Noah's drunkenness. Ham sees Noah drunk and naked in his tent and tells his brothers, who then cover their father with a cloak while avoiding the sight, which is supposed to be the cloak Nimrod utilized to become a giant and an animal slayer. When Noah awakes, who wanted to fight God, he curses Canaan, the son of Ham, and blesses Shem and Japheth. Blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and may Canaan be his slave. And may God enlarge Japheth, and may he dwell in the tents of Shem. What's the relationship between the Negro and the fake Jew? And may Canaan be his slave. Chapter 10 of Genesis, the table of nations, describe how earth was populated by the sons of Noah, following the flood, beginning with the descendants of Japheth. Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Yavin, Tubal, Meshka, Tiras, Ashkenaz, Riphath, Togarmah, Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Donam. So, what am I alluding to? It's funny how all these Arabs are running around talking about Allah, and this, that, and the other, and the Jews, and all that, without knowing first how to research things and find out what they need. So let's get into it again, all right? The above map reveals the historic importance of so-called or so-styled Jews in Eastern Europe in the 10th century, then still known as Khazars, prior to the conquest of the Khazar kingdom by the Russians in the 11th and 13th century. The rise and fall of the Khazar kingdom, which would be the 1st to 3rd century, as we read in Arthur Koestler's The 13th Tribe, between the 1st century BC and the 13th century AD, is the key to the solution of the world's 20th century international problems inimical to the nation's security. Dedication to all my God, goodwill of all racial origins and of all religious faiths. Knowledge is a collection of facts. Wisdom is the use of knowledge. Without facts, there is no knowledge. Without knowledge, there is no wisdom. Facts prevent what nothing can cure. Facts are man's best defense mechanism, and that's why you have a lot of these paid goofies who talk about, oh man, it's nonsense, because they're too embroiled in their deception. And they have acclimated to it so well that their hate is self-ambiguousness. Falter and fell without them. Listen here. Defense mechanism without them, men fumble. Falter and fell without them, nations decline and fall. Wisdom wins wars before they start. Knowledge aborts national hostilities. That's why I go so hard on the people where I grew up, and you should too, because they lack wisdom. Therefore, there's no true authority, for they are good minions, and therefore gimps, baby. And that's what they are. And they have become elusive and argumentative, a production of chemical lobotomy, right? And everything else that has removed them from the natural order of things and established a false order that predicates and predicts a presumption of an outcome without sources of knowledge and knowing. We have alluded to the facts without actually using our best internal wisdoms, a wisdom-like mechanism that brings us back into the natural order of things. Anyway, knowledge aborts national hostilities. Wisdom, listen to this. Knowledge aborts national hostilities. Wisdom obviates racial antipathies. Knowledge effaces religious animosities. And emancipation from bigotry. Knowledge. That means Muslims stop being dumb, start realizing who you're dealing with, and playing nice. They're murdering you left and right. They've already done it to so many of my people, where my people have gotten to the point of tiredness, and even costume characters don't even matter no more. They just haven't realized it. Knowledge effaces religious animosities. Emancipation from bigotry prefaces peace. Emancipation from bigotry prefaces peace. It's the front page to something else. Intolerance takes all and gives nothing. Peace rewards reciprocal respect and regard to all men of goodwill. Now this is what I think DJ will like. Pax Vobiscum. All right, so that's by Benjamin H. Friedman. Benjamin Friedman speaks a Jewish defector warns America. Excuse me. I was going to do the introductory note, which I probably should, because I read a lot of it. I probably should. So let's go ahead and take it from there. Introductory note. Benjamin H. Freedman was one of the most intriguing and amazing individuals of the 20th century. Mr. Freedman, born in 1890, was a successful Jewish businessman of New York City, who was at one time the principal owner of the Woodbury Soap Company. He broke with organized Jewry after the Judeo-Communist victory of 1945 and spent the remainder of his life in the great preponderance of his considerable fortune, at least $2.5 million, exposing the Jewish tyranny which was enveloped in the United States. Mr. Freedman knew what he was talking about because he had been an insider at the highest levels of Jewish organizations and Jewish machinations to gain power over our nation. Mr. Freedman was personally acquainted with Bernard Baruch, Samuel Untermeyer, Woodrow. That's why I say be careful of Sotomayor. You know what I'm saying? That Negro. Woodrow Wilson, Franklin Roosevelt, Joseph Kennedy, and John F. Kennedy, and many more movers and shakers of our times. This speech was given before a patriotic audience in 1961 at the Willard Hotel in Washington, D.C. on behalf of Conde McGinley's patriotic newspaper of that time, Common Sense. Go look it up. Though in some minor ways, this wide-ranging and extemporaneous speech has become dated. Mr. Freedman's essential message to us, his warning to the West, is more urgent than ever before. KS. Here in the United States, the Zionists and their co-religionists have complete control of our government. For many reasons, too many and too complex to go into here at this time. The Zionists and their co-religionists rule these United States as though they were the absolute monarchs of this country. Now, you may say that is a very broad statement, but let me show you what happened while we were all asleep. What happened? World War I broke out in the summer of 1914. There are few people here my age who remember that. Now, that war was waged on one side by Great Britain, France, and Russia, and on the other side by Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Turkey. Within 2 years, Germany had won the war. Not only won it nominally, but won it actually. Germany won World War I, just as they were winning World War II. The German submarines, which were a surprise to the world, had swept all the convoys from the Atlantic Ocean. Great Britain stood there without ammunition for her soldiers, with 1 week's food supply, and after that, starvation. At that time, the French army had mutinied. They had lost 600,000 of the flower of French youth in the defense of Verdun on the Somme. Now, it's funny how we went and we helped all these the Negro, many to never return. The Russian army was defecting. They were picking up their toys and going home. They didn't want to play war anymore. They didn't like the Tsar, and the Italian army had collapsed. Not a shot had been fired on German soil. Not one enemy soldier had crossed the border into Germany, and yet Germany was offering England peace terms. They'd offered England a negotiated peace on what the lawyers call a status quo ante basis. That means let's call the war off and let everything be as it was before the war started. They didn't want to occupy lands like these Zionists to change the narrative and put their puppets in every government as you see today. Let everything be as it was before the war started. England, in the summer of 1916, Tartary still existed, was considering that seriously. They had no choice. It was either accepting this negotiated peace that Germany was magnanimously offering them, or going on with the war and being totally defeated. While what was going on, the Zionists in Germany, who represented the Zionists from Eastern Europe, went to the British war cabinets. Now, you need to know they had already conquered the melanated people and forced them out into the place you want to call Africa today. War cabinet, and I am going to be brief because it is a long story, but I have all the documents to prove any statement that I make. They said, look here, you can yet win this war. You don't have to give up. You don't have to accept the negotiated peace offered to you now by Germany. You can win this war if the United States will come in as your ally. The United States was not in the war at that time. We were fresh, we were young, we were rich, we were powerful. They told England, we will guarantee to bring the United States into the war as your ally, to fight with you on your side, if you will promise us Palestine after you win the war. In other words, they made this deal. Now remember, on a live, in a video, which I by Express with Westside Cool he showed you the 7 lands, as I stated to many for many decades now, that they were going to occupy. And they said, there's no way in the world we're going to do in America, because they knew that would have been the end of them. So they said, let's pick another place. They thought about Uganda. They thought about Australia. They thought about a number of different places. We will get the United States into this war as your ally. The price you must pay is Palestine after you have won the war and defeated Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Turkey. Yes, Austria, Hungary, and Turkey were part of it. No, you never hear that. Now, England has had as much right to promise Palestine to... No. Now, England had as much right to promise Palestine to anybody as the United States would have had to promise Japan to Ireland for any reason whatsoever. It's absolutely absurd that Great Britain, that never had any connection to any interest or any right in what is known as Palestine, should offer it as coin of the realm to pay the Zionists for bringing the United States into the war. However, they did make that promise. In October of 1960, and shortly after that, I don't know how many here remember it, the United States, which was almost totally pro-German, entered the war as Britain's ally. I say that the United States was almost totally pro-German because the newspapers here were controlled by Jews. The bankers were Jews. All the media of mass communications in this country were controlled by Jews, and the Jews were pro-German. They were pro-German because many of them had come from Germany. Remember, the Jews are the ones that made Japan bomb Pearl Harbor, that caused the Japanese to go into China and create a lot of murder and mayhem. Well, they did. From Germany, and also they wanted to see Germany lick the Tsar. The Jews didn't like the Tsar, and they didn't want Russia to win this war. These German Jew bankers like ToLU'S and the other big banking firms in the United States refused to finance France or England to the extent of $1. They stood aside and they said, as long as France and England, remember we created the dollar, they perverted it and then removed the gold standard by their minions and their gimps. France and England are tied up with Russia, not 1 cent, but they poured money into Germany. They fought beside Germany against Russia, trying to lick the Tsarist regime. Now those same Jews, when they saw the possibility of getting Palestine, went to England and they made this deal. At that time, everything changed like a traffic light, and that changes, we created the traffic light. Changes from red to green, where the newspapers had been all pro-German, where they had been telling the people of the difficulties that Germany was having fighting Great Britain commercially, and in other respects, all of a sudden the Germans were no good. They were villains. They were Huns. They were shooting Red Cross nurses. They were cutting off babies' hands. They were no good. Shortly after that, Mr. Wilson declared war on Germany. The Zionists in London had sent cables to the United States, to Justice Brandeis, saying, go to work on President Wilson. We're getting from England what we want. Now you go to work on President Wilson and get the United States into the war. That's how the United States got into the war. We had no more interest in it. We had no more right to be in it than we have to be on the moon tonight. Instead of in this room, there was absolutely no reason for World War I to be our war. We were railroaded into, if I can be vulgar, we were suckered into it. That war merely so that the Zionists of the world could obtain Palestine, and that is something that the people of the United States have never been told. They never knew why we went into World War I. After we got into the war, the Zionists went to Great Britain and they said, well, we performed our part of an agreement. Let's have something in writing that shows that you are going to keep your bargain and give us Palestine after you win the war. They didn't know whether the war would last another year or another 10 years, so they started to work out a receipt. The receipt took the form of a letter, which was worded in very cryptic language so that the world at large wouldn't know what it was all about. And that was called the Balfour Declaration. Have any of y'all ever looked at it? There's nothing legal about it. Those Jews are frauds in Palestine, murdering and genociding people as they attempted here, and we kicked a lot of their asses here. Now we have enough dumb Negroes running around that they can't make heads or tail. The Balfour Declaration was merely Great Britain's promise to pay the Zionists what they had agreed upon as consideration for getting the United States into the war. So this great Balfour Declaration that you hear so much about is just as phony as a $3 bill. I don't think I could make it more empathetic than that. That is where all the trouble started. The United States got in the war, and the United States crushed Germany. You know what happened when the war ended and the Germans went to Paris for the Paris Peace Conference in 1919? There were 117 Jews there as a delegation representing the Jews, headed by Bernard Baruch. I was there. I ought to know. Now, what happened? The Jews at that peace conference, when they were cutting up Germany and parceling out Europe to all these nations who claimed a right to a certain part of European territory, said, how about Palestine for us? And they produced, for the first time, the knowledge of the Germans. This Balfour Declaration to them. So the Germans, for the first time, realized, oh, so that was the game. That's why the United States came into the war. The Germans, for the first time, realized that they were defeated. They suffered the terrific reparations that were slapped on them because the Zionists wanted Palestine and were determined to get it at any cost. They would sacrifice and kill anything, but you need to know why. That brings us to another very interesting point. When the Germans realized this, they naturally resented it. Up to that time, the Jews had never been better off in any country in the world than they had been in Germany. You had Mr. Rathenu there, who was maybe 100 times as important in industry and finance as in Bernard Baruch in this country. You had Mr. Ballin, who owned the two big steamship lines, the North German Lloyds and the Hamburg American lines. You had Mr. Blechroder, who had the banker for the Hohenzollern family. You had the Warburg and Hamburg, who were the big merchant bankers and the biggest in the world. The Jews were doing very well in Germany, no question about that. The Germans felt, well, that was quite a sellout. It was a sellout that might be compared to this hypothetical situation. Suppose the United States was at war with the Soviet Union, and we were winning, and we told the Soviet Union, well, let's quit. We offer you peace terms. Let's forget the whole thing. And all of a sudden, Red China came into the war as an ally of the Soviet Union. And throwing them into the war brought about our defeat, a crushing defeat, with reparations the likes of which man's imagination cannot encompass. Imagine then, after that defeat, if we found out that it was the Chinese in this country, our Chinese citizens who all the time we had thought were loyal citizens working with us, were selling us out to the Soviet Union, and that it was through them that Red China was brought into the war against us. How would you feel then in the United States against Chinese? I don't think that one of them would dare show his face on any street. There wouldn't be enough convenience lampposts to take care of them. Imagine how we would feel. That is happening right now by way of the fake Jews. Well, and that shows you that the people of China have become subservient and very stupid, as the people in Russia, Ukraine, under the duress of these Magog, but whatever, these fake leaders who don't care nothing about none of them. Well, that's how the Germans felt towards these Jews. They'd been so nice from 1905 on, when the first communist revolution in Russia failed and the Jews had to scramble out of Russia. They all went to Germany, and Germany gave them refuge. And they were treated very nicely. And here they had sold Germany down the river for no reason at all, other than the fact that they wanted Palestine and so-called Jewish Commonwealth. Now, Nahum Sokolov and all the great leaders and great names that you read about in connection with Zionism today in 1919, 1920, 1921, 1922, and 1923 wrote in all their papers, the ones that helped destroy our land. And then they want conquerors, they use idiots. And the press was filled with their statements that the feeling against the Jews in Germany is due to the fact that they realized that this great defeat was brought about by Jewish intercession. In bringing the United States into the war, the Jews themselves admitted that it wasn't that the Germans in 1919 discovered that a glass of Jewish blood tasted better than Coca-Cola or Münchner beer. There was no religious feeling. There was no sentiment against those people merely on account of a religious belief. It was all political. It was economic. It was anything but religious. Nobody cared in Germany whether a Jew went home and pulled down the shades and said, Shema Yisrael, or our Father. Nobody cared in Germany any more than they do in the United States. Now, this feeling that developed later in Germany was due to one thing. The Germans held the Jews responsible for their crushing the feet. And we'll pick up on World War I next. I told you it would be a good read. I told you to pay attention. No, there's nothing nobody can do to us being autochthonous people except for the ignorant ones who will betray anybody. Because see, when it all comes down to it, when everything ends, everyone, sadly, will be destroyed. And it's based upon their ignorance to what's really happening. They can't foresee it because they all think they play a good part. And the sad part is, every one of them and their forefathers of origin have been murdered, killed, and destroyed on all lands. And they subjugate and subvert themselves to further tyranny, yet we invented everything. This is the old world. They've lied of history. They changed it. The George Orwellian factor. And people think they're smart and intelligent by thinking they can come here, not knowing the true history, just like the flesh pit and everything else, walking on sacred soil in the perversion of their nature. And the fake Jews, the Zionists, they know this. They want destruction. They believe that they're predicated themselves into this place of this principle of participation of realms of bringing things into here that we controlled long ago, and they think that they can use these things. They've already destroyed themselves. They want everybody else destroyed. And no one can see it because of their strong delusion that if they don't change, they will be subjugated to and steeped in forever. I don't care what's watching and losing. Oh, I told you all those things will be destroyed. They matter not to me. Nor what they hear, because most of them can't hear anything. Except for the... Yeah. I'm going to leave that right where it's at. Okay? Yeah, I just read a lot more because I decided I'm going to read DNA of the Gods, both of these, War of the Anunnakis and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to read these a little later because I really want to read quite a bit. I want to read 100 Years of Lynching. There's 2 articles in there I want you to really hear. And I want to get right into Margaret Danger, Will Cooper, get onto our brother, you know, the 18, you know, get back into talking about Tartary and the world that they lie about in history, okay, exposing the truth, and then we'll get back into the heaven bearers. Where's those books at? Oh, they're right here. So we'll get into those, okay? There we go. All right? And that's the fact, we will. And you can still donate. Just because we over here don't mean that nobody don't have to donate to the damn books. It's the weekend. Did y'all go out and crack it up and party it up or something? What's going on? A few dollars for a few books. Come on, man. I thought somebody, when I said yesterday, would have donated a couple dollars. I guess y'all just said the hell with it. What in the world? So I hope y'all enjoyed that read. I hope you enjoyed the little commissary that I gave. Thank you, baby. I appreciate it. Hey, thank you, brother. Ganja, they were attempted to branch on the foot. Yes. What was that? Somebody, Queen's son is no king. He's a gimp. Okay, ultra sex kid and programming. Yeah, show it. Why would we hide that? Yeah, don't be hiding nothing on here. And besides that, do I need to make you a, baby girl, do I need to make you a moderator? Hold on, let me managing moderator. Let me give y'all some stuff in here. All right, you're gonna be just a standard moderator, brother. Let me make sure that you guys got the same keys over here to hand something. Baby girl, you can hand it people, so don't go blocking people. Omek already had his, so I don't know who's been messing with people's stuff. Let me go up here. Yes, baby. Tweak Peters, your regular old moderator over here. Okay. Want to make sure that y'all notice that Max V, you're a regular moderator as well. Okay. Just want to make sure everybody's got their keys, because I don't like to see anybody deleting anybody's anything. Nobody does that over here. You're the same over there, okay? Don't ever do that. Because I know who has a wrench over here, okay? That said show. All right. Okay, I'm making sure everything's back the way it's supposed to be. We don't block when people say over here for nothing. I don't care how you fucking feel or whatever. You slow it the fuck down. That's me saying that. So be mindful. Marcus Wham, you already got your wrench. So I know the ones who had a wrench over here and who didn't. So don't be over here blocking shit. Don't be over removing something because you don't like what you see. You fucking let it grow on your ass like a goddamn extra fingernail or a goddamn new toe. You understand me? Awesome. Good, good. Just reading everybody's comments. I better not ever see that again from nobody in this family. You understand me? Do you understand me? Not, baby, you didn't have a wrench. I just gave it to you over here. That's on the other page. I know you didn't hide it. Somebody else did it. And there's only 2 people that have wrenches over here. So I don't want to see that again, brothers. No, Ukraine is not Israel. Ukraine has just got the leader is a fake Jew. All right? He's been put there. The CIA got 10 posts between the Ukraine and Russia. Look, come on, everybody just came out in the news like a few months ago, last year, that they were over there inciting and creating this war. All right? Remember I gave you all the narrative about with the Rwanda, the Hutu and the Tutsis when they were Rwanda, when they were talking about that Negro talking about for months he been rivaling them up, talking about go out and kill the cockroaches. Who do you think put that idiot up to it? Y'all need to pay attention to these worthless Negroes. Y'all remember the guy on the radio, right? Hold on, let me pull it up. Let me just pull this up. A lot of worthless ass Negroes out here, and y'all need to know this. Radio station behind the genocide. Now y'all can go to YouTube. So, but Felician Kabuga, born 1st March 1933, is a genocidaire and Rwanda businessman who played a major role in the run-up to the Rwandan genocide. Okay? Who was the Belgian man in the Rwanda genocide? Rugio's odd trajectory as a Belgian man who lived at home until the age of 36, becoming a genocide instigator in Rwanda. Rugio, Belgium. Are you paying attention, people? This monkey right here used by the fake Jews to create a genocide, brothers, sisters, and cousins, the Hutus and the Tutsis, using a certain radio, and you can go and pull it up and look at Al Jazeera, that may have been hijacked from what I've heard, or they've been blocking them, and listen to the whole thing called the listening post. Okay? You think this is a game? They're the ones playing it. You didn't have to partake in the game. You did? What was that? No, I'm just saying somebody did. Now, I'm not saying you did, beloved. I had to say what had to be said. So in case somebody did it, don't do it again. And I had to put the vernacular behind it, because sometimes when people hear people talking certain things, they do things not knowing, oh, it's by accident. You know, Ganji used to do it by accident, but he didn't even have a wrench over here. Everybody has a wrench now, okay? Because that's why I like it. I don't like removing wrenches. I never really used this side, because I was over there and I told everybody to subscribe over here because I wanted to build this channel up so that way I can do nothing but 2A stuff and then start reciting poetry and stuff over here, and even some chef stuff. But I said, seeing how they want to play their game, and they're wrong, 110%, because they're stupid. They don't get, they think they can mess with anybody because they live in a lie, not knowing that I'm no citizen, I'm not part of this goofy crap, and they have no sway over nothing, but they can play their gambit if they want. I'm just going to read and do what needs to be said and keep it very tame. You dig what I'm saying? No, it's not Britain. It's everybody. First of all, these fake-ass Jews are everywhere, honey. And far as leadership, but they have enough dumb people. Yeah, you look at, I want y'all, I don't know if I asked you this, I want you to look at all these colleges and everything else. I want you to look at all these foreign professors and all these so-called, I want you to look at all the names in Yale, Harvard, all places. I want you to look at all these ones who you'll see, those who push this gay agenda, who push all these damn agendas that nobody has to goddamn accept. The government, this fake ass government, don't have no sway over nobody. The problem is people are stupid, just like with masks and everything else. Nobody has to listen to a goddamn thing because a bunch of monkeys are running around. Because everybody, like I said, chemical lobotomy is a real thing. Y'all allow it. You make it permissible. I'm not trying to stop them. I'm just saying it's funny to look at all these smart people running around and all influent, this, that, and other, and they so goddamn dumb. Okay? TD Jakes, what's going on with him? He got quiet. Look at JC, he ain't even answering the phone. Listen, y'all, even Justin Bieber's starting to talk more about what these bastards been doing. He's been used around like a fucking prison, like a little pale-skinned throw around with a nice little light booty that, Odell Beckman and all the crackhead, all these monkeys, because they're perversions. Whether it be the NBA, the NFL, and then the ones who play in these sports are telling you this stuff. They're coming out and they're getting out of it and they're saying enough. But nobody listened to my uncle and them who were saying the same goddamn thing back in the 70s and 80s. Come on, man. Come on, y'all. Come on. All right? So share this onto the other, or make sure that everybody else sees this and say, hey, look, Jim Lucifer with Root and Red Branch is over here. This is his other account. So for those who follow him, I don't care if it's whoever, come on over and support this channel as well. There's no medical information. They want to control the narrative so they can do more. That's why I said all these platforms are government platforms. They get information. If they were real smart, they think they can keep up or something. There's no keeping up to what has to be told. They should just be stupid, stop being stupid and allow themselves to be permissible and allow shit to happen. They had an offer. They went ahead and reneged or they fucked on it. So that's on them. And the offer would have came through. I'd have picked the highest mountain and sit there and watch the light works. Things coming in and going. Like I said, motherfuckers aren't bright. Trust me. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. Again, see y'all in a few hours. I'm getting ready to eat. Oh, I got another hour. So I'm ready to eat something. I done made me a small pasta, about a half a cup of pasta with sausage and chicken. And it's with all. I just wanted to use broil sauce. I didn't feel like making it. I didn't like the plum tomatoes I saw. Those are the only things closer to being a real tomato I could find, unless you find heirloom, purple, green, tomatoes, and they didn't have any. So I got that sitting on low. Appreciate y'all. Somebody made a donation. Who was that? It just popped up. What's wrong, man? That's well funny. No, I'm not opening up a bank account. Marcus Williams, appreciate you, beloved. Thank you. Appreciate that, beloved. So that will be definitely going. All right, I gotta hit it again. Why is it not taking it? Okay, there it goes. So I just sent back a heart and I got the receipt. And so I appreciate you. And that lizard that controls them, Claude Davis. Oh man, we don't even want to get into the names, baby. It's a whole lot. It's more. We don't put one name. You got to put thousands of names, baby. You got to pull up the list. That's why I say go pull up these lists and then make a post showing these people who have embarked to cause more harm, whether it's paid from lobbyists, this, that, and the other. That's why I keep saying Bloomberg is the enemy of the country. How was he made mayor? Because he lied to a bunch of fake people that think they're white and a bunch of dumb Negroes who sold people out because they believe in what they're doing. Look at Officer Tatum with his goofy self. Look at all these monkeys, man. They don't know no better. And then they will say they do. And trust in me. This, check it out. All right? Anyway, I appreciate y'all. It's going to be the same thing. It's not really going to change. And again, what they're trying to say on Blackboard, go and do the research yourself. What I was talking about. And I think, Ganja, if you recorded that, play it back. And then remember I told you the time frame? And look, when I was just, after I had read and before I read a whole lot of information, they are so incredibly friggin' dumb. It's just, and I'm saying that because I know it's going to stir their little feelings and emotions. And I just loathe it and I enjoy it. They just don't know how I'm sucking it in their little energy. They don't know how I feed off of them. you too can learn how to feed off of them. I'm not saying do it because most of you will probably go dark. It's not meant for everybody. It's not meant for the majority. Anyway, appreciate you guys. All right, and I'll see you here in a few hours. I love this stuff. Anyway, see you guys later.